Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Jungle Show. Today, we're doing our first pre-recorded and uh, middle of the week episode of the season where we get to recap the previous game and look up to the next game. This time, we'll be recapping the USF game last Friday, and then we'll be previewing this upcoming game against Winthrop on Tuesday, which will be tomorrow when you'll be watching this. So, all that and more next on The Jungle Show. Welcome back, everybody, again to another edition of The Jungle Show. I am Gray Oldenburg. That right there is Chris Oldenburg. We are here to talk Auburn basketball, recapping games. This is, again, like I said in the intro, the first pre-recorded middle of the week episode that we've had, because obviously we have not done this in the season yet. This is our first time doing it. And today we get to recap the USF game from last Friday and then preview a little bit about the Winthrop coming up on Tuesday. So, talking a little bit about USF, that game last Friday, we were able to do a watch party live on YouTube and Twitch for the first half of the game. First half didn't go as well as we thought it would go, so we stopped. And that worked out pretty well for us. Auburn ended up winning the game 67-59 after being down 9 at halftime. What were your initial thoughts on this game?
So I enjoyed the watch party.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be very good on the weekend games, and we can hopefully get some interactions, people enjoying watching the games with us.
Sure, yeah.
Your sister made a great point, though, at half, because we were like, well, we can keep going. And she was like, no, y'all need to change it up. By the way, my dog is going to be joining us in this show a little bit.
Yeah.
Her name is Oakley, and she has an Auburn collar on, but she likes for me to throw the ball when I'm busy. So the first half was awful. The first half was one of those that you go, holy cow, if we play like this against a really good team, we're going to get run.
Yeah.
We weren't taking care of the basketball. We weren't shooting the basketball at all. From 3 or 2, by the way, with careless turnovers, not in the right spots. Defense kept us in the game. If it weren't for us playing well on the defensive end, that game could have gotten out of hand in a hurry. So it did get better once we got off the watch party. So if we lose, we may not do a lot of watch parties.
That was my point during the watch party, especially towards the end of it when we were deciding to end it. If we would have lost that game doing the whole watch party the first time, that would have been bad. Obviously, I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed the interaction. We had some good interaction.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it. I know you did as well. So hopefully we will get to do that more. We might try it for Texas Southern this upcoming Friday right after we do the live jungle show. So I don't know. Well, it depends. Obviously, we'll keep you all updated on our social medias and on the live shows just like this.
Which by the way, that Texas Southern team just beat Arizona State.
Yeah.
So maybe a better game.
Maybe not want to do it. I don't know. So, but again, just like you said, getting back into the game, this was a night and day difference. First half and second half, bad start. We were talking about in the Jungle Show before we started the watch party, before the game started on Friday. Auburn got off to such a good start against George Mason. That was the complete opposite in this game against USF. Got off to a really, really, really bad start. Only 21 points in the first half. Shot 25% in the first half from the field. Went 2 of 14 from 3 and 7 of 13 from the free throw line, and was down 9 at home to USF. So obviously not a good first half. It is a night and day difference in the second half. I mean, just like I said, 25% in the first half. In the second half, let me see, they shot 50 54%, which is still not amazing.
Yeah,
but it's better than 25%. If you would continue to do 25%, you would have lost this game.
We had 20 points fairly rapidly in the second half, where we only had 21 the whole first half.
Yeah,
and that was, we didn't get the over 20 until late in the first half.
Yeah.
I still think Janai Broom's ankle's bothering him. He did not play well. His body language was bad. Even the announcers mentioned that his body language was not good. But I think he's dealing with an ankle, and it's frustrating him because he can't do what he knows he can do.
Yeah.
Maybe sit him out against Winthrop because they're not their tallest player that they play 6'7". They're shooters. Mm-hmm. So maybe he could sit out and get some rest and get that ankle healed so that he's ready to go this weekend. I don't know. Bruce knows best, and I trust him on that. But Wing Green is showing that PG1 is his thing.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about Janai Broom, it was, and Bruce Pearl said it today. He has been very frustrated with his ankle. It is more of an aggravated injury than a structural injury.
Yeah.
And he keeps aggravating it, and it is frustrating him because, just like you said, he knows what he's capable of. And a lot of Auburn fans know that as well. And Bruce Pearl knows what he's capable of. But it's about being able to do it, and he hasn't been able to do that.
No lift.
Yet. He's getting no lift off of that foot, getting no momentum at all. His shot's not going down.
0 of 6.
He's 0 of 6 in this game and 3 of 7 from the free throw line.
The one thing he did do well is he had 8 rebounds, which tied for the lead with Jalen. Mm-hmm. But I want to get him healthy so that we can see exactly what he's capable of. We know that he's capable of 30-plus point nights. He did it last year. He can do it in this league too. And we're going to need it. The way we shoot threes, we're going to need Janai Broom to pick it up inside.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to what you mentioned just a minute ago, Wendell Green, I think I'm going to go ahead and name him player of the game again for the second straight game, unless you want to go with somebody different, and there's only one other option.
The only other option is Al Flanagan.
Yeah, but going back to Wendell Green.
Wynn was fantastic.
He's proving more and more that he should have been first team in SEC, that he is one of the best point guards in the SEC, competing with guys like Wheeler and Mark Sears at Alabama and whoever is at Tennessee, even though they just got beat by Colorado. And
yes, they
who knows? Wendell Green is up there with those guys. I mean, he goes 9 for 11 from the free throw line. His ability to get to the free throw line, his passes, that no-look pass to Cardwell after a steal
was unbelievable.
That was
Off
unbelievable.
the bounce with one hand right at the rim.
Yeah, and that was an NBA type of pass. I know he's not an NBA type of player, but that's an NBA type of pass.
He made 3 passes this game that I went back and looked at again and went, wow.
Yeah.
His passing has improved. He was a good passer last year.
He's a great passer.
He is a elite passer this year. Ryan Starrett tweeted something out. I sent it to you earlier. Ken Palm's Player of the Year page. It tries to combine offensive stats and defensive stats and combine them to get a Player of the Year. And right now, Drew Timme, obviously at Gonzaga, is number 1. Zach Edey at Purdue, the 7'4" monster at Purdue.
Well, he's getting block shots.
Colin Castleton, my favorite guy on the Florida roster.
We'll see him game 1 in the SEC.
Yeah, is number 3, and Wing Green's number 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
player
of the year guys he's putting up so far.
You list the guys that he's ahead of. You talk about the guards. I mean, Marcus Sasser is unbelievable at Houston. You're talking about
ahead of Jalen Clark at UCLA,
Armando Bacot at North Carolina,
Hunter Dickinson of Michigan, Adam Sanogo of Connecticut. I remember playing him last year.
Yeah,
and Fale Dante of Oregon and Caleb Love of North Carolina. Of course, the number 1 team has 2 guys on that list, so that's pretty good.
So,
but for Wing Green to be at number 4, on the Player of the Year list, and I know he's not going to win Player of the Year in college basketball.
He could.
But what he's doing for Auburn, when we were making the run and coming back and then holding on to that lead, they went to zone. We screened his man of the zone, and we screened the center of the zone and put guys on the wing so that when he drove, you put that forward in an awkward position of having to go out on the 3-point shooter, which
or guard
I wouldn't do that.
No.
We shoot threes. I'd have stayed on win. They made 3 straight layups in that game, and it's like, dude, he's taking over the ball game when we need somebody to take over. He was fantastic.
Absolutely. And another point about Wendell. Wendell's 3-point shot hasn't looked amazing yet.
No.
If he gets that going,
we've seen it.
Exactly. He can go nuclear anytime he wants.
Yeah.
From outside. Yeah. So we're talking about the game.
He looks like he's trying to put it a little too soft right now.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1, everything was hitting the back of the rim. He had a couple in this last game that they just kind of grazed the front of the rim, and I was like, Win, you're
get it there, Win.
You're real close, but you got to get it there. So
yeah. Going back to what we were just mentioning about player of the game, I think the only other guy mentionable in player of the game besides Wendell Green is Alan Flanagan.
Yeah.
Alan looked like sophomore Alan Flanagan. That Alan Flanagan is what I was telling you about when I went and saw the exhibition game against UAH. That's the Alan Flanagan that we saw there. We didn't see him against George Mason. No, you saw him in this game. He had 3 threes, and the only other guy –
he was 3 of 5 from 3.
We have 5 threes as total. He had 3 of them.
3 of them.
And they were all great shots. And his aggressiveness, and he looks like he's more confident now. And he's going to be dangerous, especially if we keep him coming off the bench.
Yeah. I think it's good for him to sit there and watch the start of the game and not be out there and all pumped up, because the one thing he did wrong in this game was he had 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
And he gets turnovers. He turns the ball over when he starts going too fast.
Yeah.
And I think if you let him start the game on the bench where he can come in after watching it a little bit and go, okay, I know what I've seen. I know where I can attack. He was great in that game. He was the sophomore Alan Flanagan. If he keeps that up, he's an NBA player.
I agree.
And that's what I want for him. I want it so bad. I want him to do so well, so badly. Yeah. He just has to clean up the mistake, the turnover. He tried to make a bounce pass between like 3 people's legs to Dylan Cardwell. That. First of all, don't throw a bounce pass to Dylan Cardwell. Always throw it up. Always throw it up. Ask Wayne Green. He threw that one up and Dylan dunked it.
Yeah.
But he can't make that against good teams.
Yeah.
He also had one play on an out of bounds play where he threw it in and went running all the way around, and Dylan threw a beautiful bounce pass to him, and he dunked the basketball. He was great in that game. Exactly what we need.
So now moving on to some of the negatives in this game. We talked about the 3-point shooting. Auburn went 20% from 3 in this game. Not one of them where I was like, nope, that's a bad shot. No. Not one of them.
The only one I thought maybe was a bad shot is when Janai took a shot. I don't think that's his shot yet.
I don't either. I think he can make that shot.
I did too.
And I think he's got the green light to shoot 1 or 2 of those a game, just like somebody like Walker Kessler did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of them was a bad shot.
The rest of them are wide open.
They're open. They're clean.
Yeah. They asked Bruce today in the press conference, and he said that they had gone back at the film and looked at them, and there were only a couple that were forced. I guess by forced, he's talking about early in the shot clock, shots that we can get anytime we want them.
Yeah.
But I was like you. They're all open.
Yeah.
Are they open for a reason, though?
Yeah, definitely. So Auburn goes 5 of 25 and from 3. They also go 20 of 32 from the free throw line. You won a game by 8, missing 12 free throws. Luckily, you did better than USF.
Neither team.
Because USF went 13 of 25.
They were bad too. Yeah.
It was bad. You talk about some of the turnover problems.
We lost the game by 8. We missed 13 free throws.
Yeah.
That's bad.
The turnovers were really bad. Auburn had 20 turnovers in this game. You cannot have 20 turnovers against the top tier teams in the SEC, even the middle tier teams in the SEC. You will lose.
Yeah.
You will lose.
Yeah.
You'll lose next Friday if you have 20 turnovers against Texas Southern.
Yeah. They beat a pretty good Arizona State team.
Auburn gets out-rebounded in this game, only by 2, but you cannot get out-rebounded against a team. I understand this team is much more athletic than a team you played first in George Mason, but that cannot happen. I think a lot of that is Broome is not healthy. Mm-hmm. Your 6'6", 6'7" guard is not healthy, which we'll talk about him in just a second. But there's problems in this game. Now, as we address these problems, guys, we had these exact same problems against USF last year. Bad three-point shooting, turnovers, bad free throw shooting. 1 or 2 players have good games, and we come out with a 8-point win.
Yeah.
We're going to look back on this and look as Auburn won the game. That's all that matters.
It really is all that matters. I think that several of our problems, giving up offensive rebounds, were we weren't boxing the right guy out. One time, the smallest guy on the floor, their little point guard, who's from Memphis, transferred from Memphis, came in and ball went right to him. He laid it back in, and you could see KD's face. It looked like he thought Broome was going to box him out.
Yeah,
because it looked like he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, we've got to get bodies on people. We've got to be able to rebound. We're big enough.
USF had 20 offensive rebounds in this game. That's too much.
Terrible.
That's why you got out rebounded.
It's terrible.
Also, Auburn only had 6 fast break points. I thought after George Mason, maybe we should, because we only had 4 in that game, I thought maybe we should get up and down more. We have very good and athletic guards who are very good in transition. Let's get up and down. And it's not like we have a big center that can't get up and down. I mean, even guys like Cardwell and Broome, they can move. And then you've got Traylor Williams. Let's get up and down. I think you'll see that more against a non-athletic team in Winthrop because, they're a bunch of shooters. Auburn had a lot of fast break points against UAH. This is going to look very similar. Just they're a Division I team and UAH is not. Yeah. That's just going to be the difference right there. They're very similar play styles, I guess. Yeah. And they're not very big. So get up and down. Auburn's got to have more 6 fast break points against somebody like Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas. Because you will lose. I
wonder. It's weird because I watched the game and I rewatched it today. Mm-hmm. You watch the game and you go, we are pushing the ball all the time.
Yeah.
We push the ball up the floor, but we don't get layups, so we back it back out and run our offense. Mm-hmm. It seems like we would have had more than 6 fast break points in that game. Yeah. It just when you said there were 6, when I saw that on the stat sheet, I was like, man, it seems like we would have had more because we're flying up and down the floor.
Yeah.
And we're trying to cause havoc on the defensive end to get those. In this game, too, we had several chances at steals that just hit our fingertips and went to them or went out of bounds. Or, Cardwell's got 2 of those fast break points because he made a steal on a double team at the top and kind of walked down and dunked it. So it's, I agree with you. We need to be a fast team because our bigs are not. What's his name that played Wiley? We don't have a big like that.
You don't have a Wiley. You don't have a Kessler. You don't have our bigs need to run.
And they can run. Next door neighbor's coming home. Sorry about the dog barking.
That's fine. She's going to bark. She's a puppy.
Yeah.
Also, another thing you mentioned earlier with, you mentioned, but some of the foul trouble. Some of the fouls were a little like, wait, that's so unnecessary. Like, I don't know if even that's a foul, but why? Like, why do that? Like,
We do a
KD
lot
had
of
4,
ways.
Jalen had 4, Flanagan had 4. Those are 3 guys who don't need to get in foul trouble.
Wayne Green had 2 early and caused
Mhm.
him to miss a lot of the first half.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of reaching still, and we'll get better. Look, we're highly aggressive on defense.
Yeah. Because you've got
So they're
really
going
good
to
defensive
call
guards. Yeah.
a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
And we're deep enough that if one of those guys gets in foul trouble, it really does it hurt us? Yes, but it really doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
So I think he's telling them to be as aggressive as possible on defense and try to create some havoc. And they do, but it's going to lead to some fouls because they're reaching. And I don't know if you've seen the quote from Dylan Cardwell. They asked him about having 10 blocks this season. By the way, 10 blocks in 2 games is a pretty good start for Dylan, for the Jumbotron guy. But he said, I'm getting a lot of blocks because guys are dribble driving around my guards, jabbing at his guards a little bit. But it's true.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times also, KD got a foul on him when I'm like, he's guarding the guy driving and he's in good position. At the last minute, he reaches and tries to slap the ball down. And I'm like, if Janai's standing right behind you or Dylan, just like you knew Walker was. Yeah. You don't have to slap and reach. Just stay in that legal position when he tries to go up over you, because he did. The guy went up over him and it was Janai, blocked it straight down into the floor.
Yeah.
But it was a foul on KD. It was like, man, don't foul.
Yeah.
Don't foul when you've got guys driving.
Yeah.
You've got guys that can erase the shot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. There's one more guy that I want to talk about before we start previewing Winthrop a little bit. It's Joan Traore. And by the way, his 3-pointer was beautiful in the corner.
It was.
It was contested. It's exactly what we saw. It was exactly what we saw from Jabari. It's exactly what we wanted to see from Traore. And I think you need to see it more. Mm-hmm. I think he's got to find a way to be more aggressive and more assertive in the offense. He's in the offense coming off the bench with guys like Flanagan and KD and Dylan and Trey Donaldson currently. He's got to be more of a scorer in that. Him and Flanagan need to find a way to be those scorers in that bench. I think if they remain on the bench, those could be one of the 2 best bench players in the whole SEC, because Auburn is, if not the best, but one of the deepest teams in the SEC. Mm-hmm. He's got to find a way to be more aggressive. I think he needs to shoot more than 4 shots. We talked all non-conference last year. Jabari's got to shoot more than 9 shots. Jabari's got to shoot more than 7 shots. Jabari's got to shoot more than 6 shots. I think that's the exact same scenario here. Traore's got to find a way to score. I
agree.
And hit the ball to the basket and get those shots, whether Flanagan shooting 10 shots a game, which I'm fine with if he's shooting the way he did, but Traore's got to have more than 4.
I agree. Is he Jabari? No. Will he ever be Jabari? No. Don't because every game they keep saying he's the 2nd or 3rd highest ranked player to come to Auburn. That doesn't mean he's Jabari.
No.
But I agree. I think he's a little timid right now because he's trying to figure out, where do I fit in? You saw him when he was aggressive in Israel, and he scored the first 8 points of that one game. Yeah. I know he can score, and I know this is a different level than that team we were playing in Israel. But, yes, he needs to be more aggressive. She hasn't barked all day. I'm sorry. He needs to be more aggressive, and we need to find ways to get him shots. One of Wendell's passes that I stopped and had to rewind was from half court with one hand to Traore on the low block, and he caught it. He's got good hands. Caught it, turned, and laid it in the basket. Yeah. If we can get him to, I agree, be more aggressive. That corner 3, he obviously likes it. He was 1 of 3, but he obviously likes it. It's a pretty shot.
Yeah, it is.
And I need him to get more rebounds. I think he had 3 rebounds.
He had 3 rebounds in this game.
So it's not, and he's not getting a ton of minutes yet because Jalen's playing well, and Jalen played well again. He didn't make a lot of didn't have a lot of points, but he had 3 points and 8 rebounds and 3 assists.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to get a guy like Jalen off the court right now. But I agree, Johan can be a scorer with that second group, but he's also got 2 guys on there that like the ball in their hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And if you're running a 2-on-1 with KD, you're probably not going to get it. He's probably going to take it to the back.
He's probably going to score.
I love KD, but he doesn't like to pass it.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He likes to
go.
Take his body and throw it wherever he wants it. So, but moving on, talk a little bit about Winthrop. Just like we mentioned earlier, they're a very small team. The tallest guy is 6'7", so I expect us to go inside to guys like Jalen, Janai, if he plays, Dylan, and Traore a lot. I expect them to get out and run a lot because I don't think Winthrop's near as athletic as a team like USF was. I expect Wendell Green to be the point guard number 1 and be the dominant, assertive point guard that we've seen these past 2 games where he had 18 and 20 or 16 and 20, averaging 18 a game.
18 a game.
He's been fantastic. And if he keeps like that, he will be first team All SEC.
He's got to be. He's got to be. So Winthrop is 2-1. They lost at Penn State 93-68. Don't know much about Penn State, but they're a good football team. They beat us in football, which doesn't say much. Then they beat Piedmont, who I believe is a D2 team, 78-56. Then they beat MTSU, which is a pretty good team, mid-major. They beat them 76-68. So they're scoring high 60s, low 70s. They've got a forward that averages 18 a game and another forward that averages almost 17 a game. So they've got some players. They've got a guard named Sincere, which is an interesting name for a guy. Averages 12 points a game. They shoot 38% from 3.
Yep, they're going to shoot.
It's where I want to
let it fly.
I want Auburn to be 30 to 35%. I'd be happy with. We're at 20. And they shoot about 46% from the field. This is a team a school that goes to the tournament every once in a while. They're not it's a team that at the end of the year, when they make the tournament, we may look back and go, that's a pretty good game we had. Bruce likes to schedule 100%. People who may win their conference.
Yeah. So, 100%. I mean, we were Morehead State. They did. Yeah. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Murray State and St. Louis. I expect St. Louis in 2 weeks to be a top 25 matchup.
Yep. And by the way, it's the Cancun Challenge.
See, okay,
the first game of the Cancun Challenge.
In
it feels
Auburn,
like
Alabama.
Cancun down there, doesn't it?
No, it does not. There's a reason I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt inside my apartment right now. It is cold. It's cold. And Saturday was cold.
Oh, it was cold in that football stadium Saturday. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, it was. So before we go, there's one thing that we want to mention, and I teased it just a little earlier. We haven't seen Chance Wester yet. He's been fully active in practice. He participated in warm-ups against USF. Could we see him tomorrow night against Winthrop? There is a high possibility, especially if somebody like Janai Broome doesn't play. You could slide, Alan Flanagan to a forward or slide Chris Moore to a more of a forward and throw Chance in there. He may not play a lot of minutes. He might be on restricted minutes, but get him out there.
Bruce said in his thing today that there's a likelihood that he'll play Tuesday night and he'd be on a minute restriction of 10 to 15 minutes. That's fine. Get his feet wet, get him out there, let him play. He's almost as tall as their tallest player, and he'll be playing point guard.
Let's play him at center.
So I'm excited to see him play. Again, we got to see him when he played in Israel, and just wow,
it's fantastic.
He is going to be a really good player. So I'm excited about that. Two other real quick things. You mentioned Chris Moore. We don't need to let this podcast go away without saying what a good game that kid played.
Yeah.
He has been a pleasant surprise, especially on the offensive board.
No doubt.
He's getting boards off of rebounds, offensive rebounds on free throws.
He had 3 in this game.
He's been great so far in the first 2 games. He's not going to score 20. It's not his role. His role is to be physical and rebound the basketball. He's doing a great job, and he can fly, by the way. The other thing, today's the first day of the signing, or second day of signing class, and Aiden Holloway has officially signed to be a Tiger.
How about that? Also, we will know tomorrow if Bay Fall comes. I think it is us in Arkansas, and it's 50. Yeah, I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
So we're his last team. We'll find out.
Kentucky signed the number 1 point guard. What's his name? They'll have the number 1 class.
Okay, cool.
They have like 12 of the top 50 players. I guess he's just turning his roster completely over. I don't know.
Literally. Whatever. But we'll go ahead and end this one. This will go live tonight on the 14th, and then tomorrow we'll play, and then Friday night we'll go live as well, and then do the watch party. Probably for just the first half, depending on how it goes. We'll decide that then. So if you want to find all the stuff on auburndaily.com, just go there or go to @theauburndaily on Twitter. If you want to find us on Twitter, @Gray Oldenburg or @War Eagle Hoops, you'll get all the updates from there. We'll be back on Friday.